Alright, we're looking at more Modern Horizon spoilers. I'm not sure how much of the set is left to see. I think we're kind of getting there. I guess it'll show it's 118 cards and there's 254 in the set, so we're not even halfway there, but I think we've seen most of the mythics. Maybe not most of the rares yet. So we'll see, we'll see. String of disappearances, return target creature to its owner's hand. That creature's controller might pay 2. If the player does, they may copy the spell and may choose a new target for that copy. So this is kind of similar to Chain of Vapors. Is this how you spell vapor? Oh, no. Chain of Vapor. Yeah, there we go. And it's like sacking land instead of paying 2. It's permanents instead of just creatures. So the interesting use case isn't the one where it's like bouncing back and forth. It's the one where you're targeting your own stuff and making this like a multi-target but not board-wide bounce spell for your own guys, which would probably allow you to combo off in this situation where you're netting more mana, replaying them than you are getting them. So I don't know. It's like really kind of combo-y, I think. I'm not sure if in limited this is necessarily. Well, in limited this is like a solid enough trick. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool. Limited it's interesting because it's only in the mirror that you can start getting the bounce back and forth if they're playing blue as well. Whereas here the sacking the land thing, I don't know. All right, anyways, let's just move on. Holy. Oh, geez, excuse me. Wow, okay. So, we made an Urza card. Now we're making a Yawgmoth card. Yawgmoth, another extremely powerful entity in the story that never had a card. Again, this is something from very early on in his life, back when he was with the ancient race of the Thran, before he found the portal to Phyrexia, before he became the mad and twisted god of black mana that he ended up being. Let's see what's going on here. Protection from humans. Pay 1 life, second their creature, put a +1/+1 counter up to 1 target creature. Discard a card. 2, discard a card, proliferate. I don't know. This seems pretty good. This, it seems, I like it. First off, I'll just say that I like it. The design is pretty cool. The synergy between these two effects is really neat. The fact that he's kind of like an anti-Urza and his cost and his stats, and the fact that he has pro-humans is neat. You know, that even, it's not like they hard counter each other or anything like that, but there's just aspects of their designs that that's kind of set up to be opposed to one another, which I think is cool. That early in their life, the foundations of what made their personalities so warring and incompatible was already kind of taking root. Here you can see on his belt, he has like the Phyrexian symbol. Alright, very cool, sure. Is this a good effect? A sacking creature-based outlet. You're paying life as well. You're drawing a card, which is sweet. The fact that it's up to 1 target creature is nice, so you never have to poison your own guys. 2 black mana, discard a card, proliferate. This is a pretty good rate to proliferate. What we can do to try to see how this is comparable to other things is like, this should work. This is like 4 tap, 4 tap. Yeah, 4 tap I thought was about the going rate. This is just 4 or 3 by itself. Discarding a card is a pretty heavy price. 2 black mana. I don't know. Again, it's like a deck that, it's a card that demands a deck that's built around it. I kind of think it's not going to get there. in any constructed format. I think the deck that would have to be built around this, it's like it needs more of a payoff than this. This can't be just like the payoff in and of itself. Whereas Urza is kind of, can get all the way there just by having a ton of mana through your artifact spam and then activating his ability a bunch. This is like you still need some other cards to actually win the game. It just gets you, and under the ideal circumstances, it's just getting you a lot of card advantage, taking out their creatures. But it's like, once you've invested so much just into a board state that facilitates this, it's like, it would be nice if it just won you the game too, you know? I don't know. It's pretty cool. But I don't think it's gonna get there. Also, actually, just like Urza, I don't, not good. I just don't think it can do enough for how kind of demanding it has to be. I don't know. It has to be part of like a pretty reliable engine to start making this. I don't know. It's exciting though. Like, I'd like to see people try it. Collector Oofy. Activated abilities of artifacts can't be activated. So it's like Stony Silence, will imp, and it's in green. So this is, of course, huge sideboard tech. Big sideboard, man. For green against lots of stuff. Yeah, I feel like we're going to see this play in a lot of circumstances. Any deck that runs green, even if they also run white, they might prefer this over Stony Silence. Just because it's a body too. But then, of course, creatures are a little easier to get rid of than enchantments generally. Well, you know, it depends on the matchup. And the important thing now is that the decks that are scared of Stony Silence and run enchantment hate to get rid of Stony Silence have to now, like, kind of deal with both that and this. Like, they have to pack hate both against these sorts of creatures and against enchantments if they want to make sure they're not getting locked out. So it's interesting. I'm not sure why Wizards has chosen to hate on those decks. Are we going to get like a similar Rest in Peace creature or something like that to kind of give it the same balance of hate? I don't know. Goblin Champion. Oh, Exalted. Wow. We haven't seen that mechanic in quite a while. I like that it's a 0/1, so it's only really meaningful when it's Exalted. But maybe in some really low to the ground and Exalted type deck, this can do well. The problem is Exalted doesn't really play that well with Goblins. Like, Goblins is all about going really wide and swinging with a bunch of small guys. So it doesn't really matter. Also, is this dragon just like asleep? It doesn't look like he's killed it necessarily. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's very, very exalted in this art. Like 12 triggers. He swings in with it. Whoa! They actually printed something new with Storm! Even though it's a 10 on the Storm scale, even though Morrow said never, ever, ever again with the Storm, they actually printed black border, constructed playable Storm. By constructed playable, I mean legal and constructed. Is this actually a good card? I kind of doubt it. The turn you want to Storm off is the turn you want to just win the game. And this will never actually just win you the game on its own. Yeah, I don't know. It's just very exciting that they printed a Storm card again, like, at all. It's just crazy to me. But yeah, I don't think this is gonna get us there. It's not gonna turn Storm into tier 1 in Modern or anything like that. It's just not gonna go in the deck at all. But yeah, that's wow. Hold on too. This I don't think has happened before. I think the first green Storm card. I believe. Let's find out. Or Skyfall is down. Oh. Oh, Hunting Pack. Oh yeah, I remember that card. And Sprouting Vines. Sure, sure. Okay. Well, they printed Storm. They actually printed Storm. Who would have thought? In Limited, this will be interesting because it's a common, so you could just try to pick up a ton of these, play like blue-green or something. Because in Limited, just gaining a whole ton of life, you're probably gonna win, or like they'll probably just mill themselves out or deck themselves out. That is like, as long as you're like ahead, you have more cards in your library. You've drawn fewer cards. I don't know, maybe red-green. Sword of Sinew and Steel. Oh, baby. Are we getting more swords? So we already had all the allied color swords, right? So is this now we're getting enemy pair swords? This is... Oh, no, this is black and red. Wait a minute. I thought all the allied sword cycle had finished. Let's see what's going on here. Sword of Body and Mind. Feast and Famine. So these were... Oh, it was all enemy colors? Oh, I guess it was all enemy colors. I never actually like thought about it. Wait, did I just see a spoiler? Maybe I did. Like a spoiler of these spoilers? Whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, destroy up to one target planeswalker and one target artifact. Ooh, interesting. This seems solid enough. Pro Black, Pro Red is pretty nice. That gets you around most of the targeted removal that you're going to see. These swords are so matchup dependent, I guess, in terms of the value of pro colors. So up to one target planeswalker and up to one target artifact. This is like okay, but again, it's actually pretty matchup dependent. Like a lot of decks, this is just totally irrelevant. And actually, in a lot of against black and red, like what would they be running? Liliana, Chandra. Some decks run Chandra. Yeah, I don't know. It seems okay. Seems okay. It replaces existing swords plus that doesn't exist. RIP Stoneforge. Maybe if they unban Stoneforge, people will try this. But I think there's other targets that are still better. Some of the other swords I think are still stronger. Like this is to me like much crazier because this is like always good. It pushes you forward. It denies them cards. Like this is just so much damage too. Or wait, what was the one that deals damage based on cards in their hand? Alright, whatever. I think there's another sword to see based on another one that I glimpsed here briefly. Pillage, straight target artifact of land, can't be regenerated. This is a super old reprint. It's cool. I guess, you know, it's a little harder to cast in Stone Rain because it's double red, but sure. Sling Gang Lieutenant. So this is kind of like Siege Gang Commander, but it's a little twist on it. Just like the Siege Gang, you get 2 goblins that come along, and you can sack them. This time they drain them somehow, rather than just exploding next to them. I don't know, seems okay. It's interesting that they're bringing back black goblins. That was kind of like a Lorwyn thing. I don't think we've seen them since. So it's kind of awkward if goblin decks have to go off like mono red, but I don't know. Maybe it's more like they go off mono red for like disruption and stuff to make it more of like a prison-y type deck. Because a lot of the goblin decks are all about just spamming Blood Moon and Chalice and stuff. Yeah, that's alright. I don't know. Springblood Druid, you sack a land. Oh, interesting. Interesting ramp. The fact that they come onto the battlefield tapped is kind of too bad. Because otherwise this basically just nets you like 3 mana, given that you already tap the land that you sack. But yeah, it's ramping. The fact that it only fetches basics, I don't know. It's something. The art is really cool. I love the way they've drawn these new plants. Well, new sliver. Ooh, this feels like this has to be part of some sort of really degenerate infinite combo. Ooh, it's a sliver trilobite. That's very interesting. Trilobites were like, I was like obsessed with them as a kid because we used to go to this. It was like a gorge basically. I think it had been used as like a gravel pit for a while, and there was tons of fossils there. So we call it Fossil Road. And I was always looking for trilobites. Those were like the absolute rarest. Usually you just found like coral, things like that. Wow, a third trilobite. Dang. After all these years. Well, I guess we had one just in Ixalan, but it's very, very slowly the tribe is being built up. But yeah, I feel like there has to be something extremely degenerate you can do with this. I'm not sure what it is. Because I know there's like mana weft silver. But that only gets you 1 mana. So you're down 1 mana still. So if there's some other thing, yet another thing. Must be something. Fallen Shinobi, a zombie ninja. Oh, great. We're getting to that arc in Naruto then, aren't we? That exiles the top 2 cards of the library. You may pay those cards without paying their mana cost. Ooh, how exciting. Now this card is like just a one-man party. Like, what matchup is that not just thrilling to start casting cards for free off the top of their deck? In some matchups, it's like a gigantic blowout too. Like you could potentially just take their game-winning card. The stats are pretty good too. A lot of these ninjas are pretty fragile, but 4 toughness makes this really nice. Ninjutsu. Yeah, I don't know. I really want to see this deck. There's no way that this deck isn't getting made. Could it possibly be any good? What kind of support does this need? What kind of things is it trying to do? You're playing like small unblockable creatures, ninjutsuing them out, trying to cast all their stuff for free. Maybe? It's just so pushed. Like the stats are just so pushed that I really want to believe. Like you're getting in for 5. You're getting 2 cards, potentially. Almost certainly, you could just get to cast 2 things. That's like pretty huge card advantage. All it takes is like one, what's that guy called? Invisible Stalker. Is this still, wait a minute. Oh, it's hexproof, yeah, so it's fine. And plus this doesn't even target, it's just return an unblocked attacker. Yeah, I don't know. I think this could do it. Wouldn't that be insane if there was actually a competitive deck that was built around your zombie ninja, and that people were like specifically playing around the fact that you can ninjutsu in your zombie ninja, and they don't want your zombie ninja to be playing all your cards for free? I don't know. It's like stranger things have happened in Magic. Just because that sounds absurd doesn't mean it's necessarily absurd. Turn 4, that's not, I don't know. Ooh, Lesser Masticore. Interesting. That seems to go against the entire idea of Masticores. But yeah, this is basically what it says right there. To discard a card, that's often a kind of a Masticore-esque. It's a creature type now, right? But we can find it just by switching Masticore. Yeah, they all have discard a card type effects. This one only does it once, so that's kind of its benefit or whatever. I remember when this was like the card. This used to be like one of the strongest creatures of all time. How the mighty have fallen. But this still seems pretty solid. I think in limited this can put in like a ton of work because it's a mana dump. It's a persistent threat. This is the first time we've seen persist in Modern Horizons, I think. There's a lot of mechanics in this set. I'm so happy that they're willing to do this. Just put mechanics on like one card. That's very Time Spiral-esque. That's something that I think they knew a lot of people were hoping for if they ever made like a pseudo sequel to Time Spiral like this. So I'm really happy that they're going just all in on it. Here we go. Sword of Truth and Justice. So another allied pair. This one +1 counter on a creature controlled and proliferate. This doesn't seem like that crazy of an effect. These are, again, nice colors to have protection from. Especially like red and black. Like often you're playing against that specific color combination and then it just shuts down everything. Like blue-white control, this just smashes right through. Except that, of course, the sword itself doesn't have pro-blue or pro-white, so it can still get blown up. But whatever. I don't know. This effect doesn't seem too crazy, though. It seems very slow, like a slow burn kind of thing. I'm gonna be surprised if it's fast enough that like the decks that too slow. Like again, decks want to play this not in a long grindy matchup necessarily, because there you're trying to eke out. It's more about eking out card advantage and such. And this is like really all it does is try to kill them. But will it really kill them? Could it possibly be fast enough to be that big of a threat compared to just playing Batterskull or playing some of the other swords? I don't know. Yeah, I'm skeptical, but maybe in like a really slow burning kind of control game, maybe in like a control mirror, you bring this in, just equip it to your Celestial Colonnade or something. I don't know. Nature's Chant. Nice. This is kind of cool to have like such a staple effect with hybrid mana. You don't see that too often. Pretty neat. I could see this showing up in some sideboards. Or maybe not. I don't know. I guess often you'd rather just run Nature's Claim. Or the white one. There's a white 1-drop, I think, that does something similar. Like, again, with a downside, but whatever. I like this idea of planting swords and the sword turning into a tree. That's very cool. Orcish Hellraiser. Alright, cool. So, nicely pushed stats, offset by the fact that it has an echo cost. The echo cost being cheaper than the normal cost is not too common and a pretty neat little gimmick. But the fact that you can also just let it die, not pay the echo cost, and kind of do targeted removal on a planeswalker or whatever, it's pretty neat. Or just get in with more damage if it's getting walled out. Yeah, this is a real utility guy, a real team player. He just does it all. He's up for anything. Definitely could see people picking these up unlimited. Archmage's Charm. Ooh. Counter target spell. Target player draws 2 cards. Wow. Now that is a charm. What a charming charm. I wonder. I like that they do this, by the way. This is so cool. I mean, here it's like a gigantic search, but sometimes they'll do very specific ones for cards that have very specific requirements. At any rate, yeah, this is like really nice utility. Like this mode, of course, is kind of the focus, sort of like Cryptic. It's more about just kind of keeping that open, and then in times of desperation or whatever, you can crack it for whatever other modes. and just try to get some advantage. Draw 2 is like so good though in that situation. Like Cryptic, it's often your like draw counter, which of course is better than just counter. But there's other situations where it's like, well, they're just kind of grinding me out on the board. They're not even going to play anything. This Cryptic is like dead in my hand. You really just want to like draw. Well, I guess in that situation you bounce draw. I don't know what I'm talking about. Or you tap down draw. Yeah, this I guess is no Cryptic. But draw 2? You get to draw 2 with this? In those sort of situations where I don't know. I think this has a lot of potential. I wonder if this is going to be a cycle. Wow. Potential. But not Cryptic. Yeah, I don't know. I think they should try it. It's like bad to replace Cryptic with this though, I think. It's more that it's like turning one of your other purely counter spells into something with a bit more utility. And given how expensive counter magic is in Modern, it's not slowing you down that much, I guess. Unbound Flourishing. When whoa! Oh baby! What? Okay, this is amazing. This is so amazing. This is like doubling season, but cheaper, and kind of like similar situations. Like often this is going to be a big Hydra that's coming down with +1/+1 counters anyways. This is crazy too. That you get to like double Fireball and stuff. Yeah, and some sort of crazy green-red deck. This is just gonna like blow them out so quickly. Banefire for like whatever, and then gah! Yeah, this is bananas. Double the value effects. Yeah, and think about like your even in like some sort of Hardened Scales type deck that plays a lot of like Walking Ballistas and Hangerback Walkers and stuff like that. This seems pretty sweet because doubling the X of that, like being able to cast Ballista for 2 and have it come down as a 2/2 is crazy. Yeah, I don't know, man. This seems like a lot of potential. Like I actually think this could push the deck because this is just so cheap, and you're probably playing some sort of ramp type stuff anyways. So ideally, this comes down turn 2, and then turn 3, you have like minimum 4 mana then, or like 4 mana probably at your disposal. So you make like a 4/4 Ballista or something, and then like that just blows up their board probably, or it starts swinging for a lot, or you play some Hydra that I can't even imagine, and then later in the game you just start blowing them out with fireballs in this hypothetical green-red deck, and now I'm becoming more skeptical, but maybe. I think the Modern X deck could be a thing. Maybe. I don't know. It just seems like you can get so much value from this so quickly. I love this art too. Look at the size of this Hydra. It's just everywhere. This is all Hydra. And this guy is like, what? Why is X times 2? Why'd you just double X? Is that okay? Did we put the word double? Yeah. I don't know. Seems crazy. Ooh, a new Scarecrow. We haven't. Ooh, an untap card? Okay, alright. Scarecrow and untap mechanics I kind of associate together as well. They are both big things in Shadowmoor. But yeah, this is pretty cool. I like that it doesn't untap during untap step. It's like a very cute way to just facilitate the untap power. Yeah, this is cool. This is very cool. I never thought I'd see the untap symbol again. That's something else that I think was like very high on the storm scale, because Maro said people didn't understand it. They didn't understand it, and then they didn't even really like it that much when they did understand it, but I always thought it was very cool. It's just such elegant design. Like, it's like so clear what it means to me. and yet it's so radically different from anything else in the game. Alright, cool. And then we saw this before, so we're caught up. We are caught up. What I'm curious about, not everything has a price listed yet, but of the cards that we've seen long ago enough that there is a price listed. Interesting. This sword is the most expensive than the other sword. I think that might just more be like a sword tax that people know that these cards will always go way up in value just because they're such big casual favorites and such than any sort of bet that people are taking on their competitive playability. This, I think, is mostly expensive because of EDH. I'm very skeptical that this will see modern play. This is just Planeswalker tax, I think. I don't think it's actually that crazy. I don't know. I think I said some pretty good things about it. Seems pretty solid, I said. Good. But, yeah, I think it's just kind of Planeswalker tax. Nobody knows how to evaluate them for sure. This, of course, is just 5-color sliver tax. This is Mox tax. I think this card is not going to get anywhere. And then here we go. These are the only ones so far this cycle, and the red-blue one especially. These are things that I think will totally retain these prices and then go up. Ah, good. See, people. But, oh, well, of course, this is also going to be a huge casual hit. Like so many EDH decks and stuff are going to be made around this. But I want to see. I want to see if this could possibly get anywhere in Constructed. I really want to see. Yeah. These all make sense. This makes sense too. This, I think, could be a very strong card. This is interesting. I'm still not sold on this whatsoever, but it's something. It's like it's new enough to try. That's for sure. And then, yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. See, like this search, I think is so great that it shows us all of this. So these are like this you can cast for free because it reduces 1 of each colored mana cost. So that's pretty exciting. I love this card so much. Alright. Okay, we're caught up. We will look forward to more cards tomorrow. Bye-bye.